and you are watching Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes. This is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent. Hi.
Tony, welcome to Go.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on? What? Alright, you go in, Tony. Good.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead Radio Show. You're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey Tony, you're not funny, and you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus.
Let's give a big shout out to Tony Walker.
Tony Walker, who's a friend of mine.
Tony Walker!
Tony Walker!
Tony Walker, everybody. Stand up, Tony. Where are you? Tony Walker! Thank you so much, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Walker. Our favorite. We love you.
Let's give a big shout out to Tony Walker.
All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. It is Thursday. Welcome to the Knockem Dade Comedy Show. We're coming at you live on Gov's Comedy Club podcast. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're on the YouTube feed. We're on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the Facebook page. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you're going to comment this morning, we appreciate you watching no matter where you're watching from. Or even if it's not live, if you're watching this tonight, we appreciate it. But if you're watching live and you want to comment and say hello, please do so on the YouTube feed. That is where we're monitoring the comments. Just like John Rusiello just said, good morning. John, between good and morning, there's usually a space. Good morning is not one word, John. We're going to have to send you back to school. John is old, so he's probably just senile and forgot how to spell. But please, comment and say hi, just like John did this morning. The Knockem Dade Comedy Show, coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club right here in Levittown. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning. Frank is here, and our special guest today, Andrew Lubman, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew Lubman is here. My former neighbor, Andrew Lubman is here. He down there in Wantaw, which I think the very first time I ever saw you down there, you approached me in King Cullen. And
sounds about right.
And we never met, but you knew me through.
Well, but then the other connection was you were coming to the Beatlestock shows with Larry Russell.
Yeah, right.
And you introduced yourself, or Larry introduced
That's
you to me.
right.
And
Yes.
you're like, Tony Walker. I'm like, oh, I was like, you related to Frank Walker? He's like, that's my brother. I'm like, you're kidding me. I know Frank already.
But I was shocked I was shocked for a few reasons. One, because I had seen your videos on YouTube, which we'll get to. And I mentioned it the other day when I said that you were coming on. I talked about it quickly, but we'll talk about that in a second. But yes, I'd seen your videos. I'm like, oh, that's the guy who does the videos. And then Walker is such a popular name. And it's not like we were in Wantaw or Hicksville. Like, we were in the city, which I'm sure between here and the city, there's probably like several thousand Walkers. And he just... Oh, Frank Walker. I'm like, like, what are the chances of that? And I was
it's like if someone hears you from New York, like, oh, do you know Joe?
Right, exactly. Exactly. I'm retired from the phone company. I used to have people, the phone company, again, thousands. And I was working there for maybe a year. And one guy, so I know somebody from the phone company. And I literally did laugh in his face.
Right.
The name he mentioned was my partner at work. I was like, what are the freaking chances of that? But then to make it even weirder, then I bump into you in King Cullen. So you're like, Frank Walker, and then, like, oh, I live right down the block from you.
Right, that was the crazy.
That's when I was like, all right, it's time to call the cops. I got a stalker here.
Stalker Walker Stalker.
That's right. Good morning, Mickey. Good morning, Paula Diaz Sylvester.
Yes. Hi, Paula.
Oh, that's a connection to you. Okay, I was about to ask. She says hi there, Paula. Thanks for watching today. We appreciate it. Yes, John, yes, you spelled good morning right, but there's a space between the good and the morning. You wrote it as one word, John. What's the matter? Okay. So Andrew is here, getting right into this. So doing my research, because, I have a job to do here. I looked at andrewlubman.com.
Haven't updated that site in many long years.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was immediately taken by the description. Various music projects, including original songs, jingles, and sound design. Now, he's a musician. I am not even close. So I have no idea. I love music, but I have no idea. What is sound design?
So I had worked for 7 years at a company called Korg.
Oh.
Which is a keyboard manufacturer. They make synthesizers and other electronic musical instruments.
Yeah.
Actually, I started working there right after I graduated from Berklee College of Music. A little plug there for my alma mater.
And I'm showing you keyboard now, which is not a Korg.
No, that's a Casio. Yeah. Don't tell them. So I was. I had a number of jobs when I was at Korg, but one of them, which is we're referring to the sound design part, was being part of what we called the voicing team, which was a team of people who would create the sounds that you hear when you turn on the keyboard. Oh, here's the piano. Oh, well, that has to come from somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Most instruments these days, for the last 30 years at least, are based on sampling technology.
Right.
So you go into a studio, let's say it's a clarinet. You want to make a clarinet sound. So you got a clarinet player. You have them sit in the studio and play. All right, play E, and then hold it out, and then play F sharp, play G, play it soft, then play it loud. Get all these variations of notes. Play it short, and then it's the job of the sound designer to then take those raw sound files, digital recordings,
right,
and edit them so that there's no silence at the beginning of the sound. So when you strike the key, it starts right away. So that you of course you have to make sure that it's a good performance that they gave you of that note.
Right.
There's
yeah.
no weird spit or
right. Right. Or the sound of like sometimes on a sax player you'll hear them like
or the squeak or the clicking of the keys.
The clicking of the keys. That's where I was going.
All that stuff.
Right.
And then you assemble it so that you play it on the keyboard and it sounds like a clarinet. I mean,
so you did the whole thing. You would record it, and then you're programming in it like an orchestra. When you get an orchestra sound, like you be programming it into that so that whatever notes they hit.
Not quite the orchestra thing, but before that, it's more like the clockmaker or something. Like I'm actually assembling all the parts.
Okay.
So that now you have a functioning clock, a functioning clarinet,
Sure.
or a functioning piano, whatever it is.
So you're like an AI godfather.
I don't know if I go that far. and some people's view of AI could be
true.
negative things.
Well, in the music world, it's not it's not too much of a negative thing. Like you take the last Beatles song, that's a good use of AI.
Right.
But now to take, say, John Lennon's voice and put it on a Taylor Swift song, that's bad AI.
Right. It might be amusing, but yeah.
Amusing, yeah, but.
The cool thing, I mean, I guess there are a lot of cool things about that job with the sound design, but one of them was that occasionally you would hear one of the sounds that I had created, for example, in a song on the radio. Like,
right.
It wasn't on the radio, but Prince had an album, what was it, Rave Unto the Joy Fantastic? Something like that.
Yep.
There are
Great
a couple
album.
of songs on there where there's an acoustic guitar. It's my Martin acoustic that I played and sampled, and because he's using a Korg Trinity, that's the keyboard that I had worked on.
Wow.
I was like, check that out. There's a,
Now, how can you... Like, how can you?
Well,
it's not because if it's you can recognize it.
It's more. It's not so much that as much as it is you hear the same sound, because with sampling technology, you're triggering the same digital recording over and over again.
Right.
There are ways to get away from that repetition, or because it could become almost too easily recognizable. So more advanced sample sound collections will have multiple strikes of the same note. And different levels, so that you're getting a different thing each time. But, being the person who worked on it, I was very, very familiar with that from playing it over and over again.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, so, and of course the timing, the album came out where it made sense that, this was not too long after the keyboard had been released. So and there were probably some other sounds on the album that I heard that I knew were also from that keyboard.
Right. That's funny you say it, because that's one of my favorite Prince albums.
Is it?
Love that
I'm
album.
only familiar with it enough to know, because I had heard that. I'm like, listen, and then I've never actually listened to it.
The title track he covers Every Day is a Winding Road by Sheryl Crow on that album.
That's right, yeah. Did he cover it or he wrote it?
No, she wrote it.
Okay.
Sheryl Crow wrote it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And there's no, like, I won't see your name in there. No. And did you ever meet Prince? You're like, hey.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, you're not going to get, like, most of the time, like the Beatles albums, the orchestral musicians didn't get their names on there. There's like one or two examples where they gave, like, the solo French horn in For No One on Revolver.
Right.
Alan Civil horn, they gave his name. Other than that, there's like, certainly the orchestra members, they don't have them listed.
Right. And even that For No One, like, you really have to search to find that name.
It's in the liner notes of the album itself.
Right. It's not like it's on the back featuring. Like,
that one actually does say it on the back of the album.
Oh, it does?
Yeah,
all right.
That's
Never
how
mind.
I know about it. No, but like phone company person, like, do you know the name of the woman who goes, if you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again?
I do not.
But that's a human being. It wasn't AI.
Yeah, right.
But there was someone there. So likewise, there are people like me who created the sound. So
I was actually at a show at Larry Russell once, and the lady did an introduction. I was like, I know that voice. No, I'm kidding.
Phone lady.
Right, yeah. You please put in another 10 cents for a minute. That's her.
Actually, I have a friend who did the voice that I don't think they use anymore at Penn Station. The look up, look down. It was like the safety on the escalator thing.
Oh, that's funny.
And I didn't know that until she told me. It's like, oh yeah, I did that. Like, that's you.
Well, actually, yeah. If you call governors, you might hear my voice on the automated thing, and then some of the announcements in the club on the night of a show. Please like our Facebook page. And some of those are me.
Right.
And I'll
Get up on stage.
I get the money as it comes.
Yeah, right.
Residuals.
The coins.
Microcents. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Bitcoin. Well, does that? What's that feeling like? Like, are you saying to yourself, I should be on the credits, or I should be getting $1 for every?
Nah,
like you're just like, oh, that's cool.
It was just cool to be part of that.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes doing that.
That's wild. I remember I remember back in the 80s when Bill Cosby was still respected. I remember on the Cosby Show, he had, you probably remember this, when he had Stevie Wonder on there.
And they sampled?
He started sampling the kids. They were making noise. And I remember being blown
Jamming
away
on the
by
one. Yeah.
Right. And we're talking the same thing,
That's
basically,
the same
right?
technology.
Yeah. That's wild stuff, man. That's great. And now what about jingles?
So I had done mostly local stuff. Dairy Barn, you might know that one. What you need
Really? Yeah.
is what we got. Dairy Barn, that's me. I wrote that. That was actually the first jingle that I had done that was used.
Wow.
And that was one where it actually was used for many years.
Right.
I only got a one-time payment, and a lot of times these things are like a buyout, even though they use it over and over again. But so it was fun to hear it every so often on the radio.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, that's cool. And that's like Barry Manilow, right? He started out doing jingles,
he
right?
wrote jingles too. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that live album that you had where he does a medley of all of his. And again, Sheryl Crow too. She did jingles.
See now tying this to what you're saying about recognizing like my guitar sound on the record of it. So a funny story about jingles. I was in the car. This is a number of years ago. And I happened to turn on the radio, and there's a jingle. I'm waiting for a song to come on. Okay, there's a jingle playing, whatever it is. And I'm like, there's a voiceover, there's the instrumental background, there's this acoustic guitar. I'm like, oh, I'd play that chord the same way, that interesting voicing, yeah. And then all of a sudden the singing comes on. Oh, it's me. Wait a second. It was Beth Page Open MRI. And I'm like, oh, check it out. Like I'd forgotten I've even done that jingle. And
you wrote that one too?
Yeah.
How do you come up? What inspires like a good jingle for an MRI place? Like we're not talking cars like the Beach Boys and girls. Like how do you make an MRI jingle? How do you make one, and how do you make it cool? Like that had to be one of your tougher jobs, I would think.
MRIs are cool. I'll have you know. I mean they give you certain things to work with. Obviously, the name of the company.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes they'll say, "Oh yeah, we definitely want to mention such and such." Right. So you kind of try to figure out a way to work that in. There are some others where it was just like so wordy, and you try to do your best.
Yeah, I
Certain
bet.
things don't lend themselves to being sung.
Right. Yeah. I can't picture like a good rockin' riff to. We're gonna memorize your MRIs. You're gonna. I wouldn't even know where to begin with an MRI.
It was a comfortable experience. We're there right by your side. Beth Page Open MRI.
Ah.
And it was this mellow kind of gentle,
right.
Put you at ease kind of.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. So. All about the atmosphere. Okay.
Yeah.
And then did they ever reject it, and then you have to start back from scratch?
Yeah. There have been a few where it was like, here it is, and it was like, yeah, this sounds good. I'm happy with this, and then they're like, oh no, they don't like it. I'm like, back to the drawing board. Right. And then, of course you've got the original one in your head, like it can only be that, and you have to just forget it ever existed. And then there are ones like actually the one that I was thinking of with the particularly difficult wording. They ended up not even going with it in the end, and not because of that. They just decided, we're not going to spend money on a jingle. So after putting in the time, that happens too,
So you don't even get paid?
No. Maybe you get a little bit because of
for your time,
demo
sure.
And,
Wow.
Yeah. But that's just the nature of the world.
Let's see. Any good comments? Does Stevie Wonder know what a piano looks like? And then John Rusciello, he's got this weird thing about, I know it's a big thermos, John. He brings it up every day. All right. Yes, it's a fire hydrant. I know. Okay.
This paddle game and this thermos.
Right. Okay. So, I was curious. Sound design. I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, I couldn't. Did you know that? You must have known that.
I knew about it. I didn't know it was called that.
Okay. And other things that could fall into the category of sound design, I suppose. I also had worked for a big web design company in Manhattan for a number of years.
Yeah.
Doing some original music, but also sound effects and things like that for online games.
Oh, so nice.
That would also fall under the umbrella of sound design.
Right. Okay. Oh, video. Wow, that.
Yeah, I mean, like on Flash-based stuff.
Yeah.
Or the old Macromedia Director with Shockwave, if you remember that kind of.
I do actually.
And then CD-ROMs as well. That was. So we're talking 97 to 2001 was when I was doing that.
Right.
And CD-ROMs were still very much.
Yes, they were.
Not before.
I still have some. I don't think I have anything that'll play them, but
use it as a coaster for your thermos.
Yeah, right. Or play frisbee or something. Okay. Oh, okay. I asked you that question, but I actually have that in my notes. Andrew's hands were the ones playing many of the instruments that make up the samples in some of Korg's top-selling keyboards. Yep. These keyboards have been used on many chart-topping CDs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there were a few others too. I can't remember exactly. Savage Garden might have used it.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah. Similar, also that same guitar sound, actually.
Oh, really? Why would somebody like, especially Prince, I mean, amazing guitar player,
plays guitar, right?
Why would he feel the need for that?
It might have been part of a more layered sound, like there was probably a keyboardy sustained sound, and the guitar was an element in that sound.
Okay.
So he was using it as a keyboard, but it had that guitar in there, as opposed to, I need a guitar. Instead of picking up the guitar, being that, Prince, I'm a guitar player. No, I'll just play it on the keyboard. Yeah, no, he wouldn't do that. But it was, like I said, it was probably part of a different sound that included that guitar in it.
And I guess probably, so if he had the sound in his head, or if he heard it and said, okay, I want to use that.
Yeah.
I guess it's just easier than spending hours trying to get that sound
you wouldn't
himself.
Necessarily try to then, like, it would be like if you went to a restaurant and tasted a nice cake or whatever and said, oh, wait, I'm going to stop eating this cake and go home and make it myself because, it's one thing to come home from the restaurant and go, I want to make that one day on my own.
Right.
This we're talking about, no, this would be more like you're about to eat the cake, take one bite and go, oh, that's good. I'm going to go make it now myself.
Right.
That would be what it would be like. The sound is there.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make sense to kind of deconstruct it and then rebuild it yourself. I mean, unless you're that much of...
Well, yeah, Prince came across as a pretty egotistical guy. You would think that way he can say, look what I did. I don't know why I just did a Michael Jackson impression. I don't what that was all about. All right. All right, so we mentioned the videos. So you you take Beatles songs.
Mostly.
True. There are some others. The New York State of Mind, I watched
That's
that one.
one of them,
But so you take a song and you recreate them, but basically down to the same instrument that was used on the original recording.
Right.
How did that come about? Is it just for fun, or like why did you?
Yeah. I mean, it's a labor of love. It is certainly for fun. I'm sure there are other reasons behind it as well. Actually, to be honest, some of it might be born partially out of frustration when playing with bands where I can be pretty particular about getting things right. If you want to sound like the record, then let's do that. And I spent many years, learning this ability, as from the time I was in junior high, whatever it was. And now it's like, yes, I know that those are the right notes to sing or to play this part this way. And so sometimes I'll be in a band and they don't, like, I have to keep in mind how my annoyance, my becoming an annoyance factor. So I kind of give up after a while because after a while I'm fearing that I'm going to get kicked out. So anyway, so I was like, you know what? I want to do a song where I'm doing everything the way I want to do it. And I know that it'll come out good. So that was how it started.
Well, and that's what I do find interesting about them is because you have the video of every part that's being played or sung, whatever.
Yeah.
So you can see them. And, if you're trying to figure out, you can go to those videos and see the exact notes that are played or the type of instrument.
Right. Yeah, there's a degree of wanting to kind of provide some education. If not showing, like, what notes am I playing, if not that, at least kind of like, well, how did they get that sound? Like, for example, the song Birthday on the White Album, there's that interesting piano sound that like, what is that? So I did a little research and I did a lot of listening and trying to find like isolated examples, or there's all kinds of tricks before we had this technology we have now where you could listen to like just the left speaker or just the right speaker.
Right.
And sometimes you could kind of hear stuff a little bit more in isolation. And so that piano is, they recorded the piano track. And then they played that track back through a certain Vox guitar amplifier that had an effect in it. It was called mid-range boost. It was meant to be a tone selecting type thing. It was kind of like a wah-wah pedal that only had 3 possible positions instead of a continuous sweep from one thing to the other.
Okay.
And it wasn't meant to be played, the effect. It was meant to be like, oh, I like that one, and leave it there, and now play your guitar through that. So they ran the piano through that, and they actually switched between the 3 different positions on that tone thing. And that's why it goes,
You see, I find that interesting because from watching your video of that song, I did think to myself, why is he turning the knob? Like, I didn't know that's what that knob was doing.
Right.
So I'm like, why is he showing himself? Like, I thought, is he just turning the volume up? Like, what is he doing? Yeah. So now, that makes sense.
And now the other piece of that is if you've seen my videos on YouTube, or if you want to, take a look at the video descriptions as well, because no one seems to ever read those.
Oh,
and I talk about some of that stuff. Just things that I'm not going to put in the video itself on screen.
Right.
That a little background so you know what's going on.
Okay. You caught me. I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's okay. You and pretty much everybody else.
Right.
But yeah, so there's all actual instruments, like you said. I usually try to get the same model of instrument that they used. There's no samples or MIDI. There's no modern equipment. Like when I'm 64, I'm playing clarinet. I'm playing the bass clarinet, and there's actually the real chimes. The Vera, Chuck, and Dave. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, bong, bing, dum, dum, bing. I happened to work in a school district, and I knew that in their band room they'd have the actual orchestral tubular bells, the chimes. So I set up a camera and I recorded that. I remember that was the Friday before Labor Day weekend of 2009. I just, for some reason, remember that. When I went in and recorded that chime part. The video itself wasn't completed and put out until a few years later after that.
Oh, wow.
But that's the kind of length that I go through, because it's like, no, you want the real thing, because maybe no one knows, what makes that chime sound. Oh,
right.
There they are. He's actually playing it.
Wow.
Several examples of that where I go to great lengths to try to get the right stuff.
Right. That in itself has got to be a project.
It is. Yeah. The videos could take anywhere up to even like a year or two to make.
Wow.
Fool on the Hill, which is probably the last one I put out. It's 3 years ago, I think now. That was done over the course of almost 10 years, I think. Like, you can see my hair is darker in one of the things, and it's more gray like it is now, by the end of it. And I put stuff on hold for, I have a life.
Right.
I have a family. I have a day job. I play in a wedding band. I play in 6 other bands besides the wedding band.
6 bands and the wedding band?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get to that in a second, too.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a lot of work just to find this stuff, but then I would think it's got to be expensive too. Instruments are not cheap.
Yeah, well, I usually either it's stuff that I already own, or in the case of Because, which is from the Abbey Road album,
right?
There's a Baldwin electric harpsichord, which is kind of a rare instrument that I've looked at through the years, try to find one, but it's like too expensive to warrant buying just so I could play one song.
Right.
And then there's also an old Moog modular synthesizer, the kind with all the patch cables.
I thought it was Moog.
Yeah, everything. And I happened to find a studio in Brooklyn that had both of those instruments. So I was like, oh, this is great. So I rented I paid for some studio time for that one.
Oh, okay.
But
so
most of the time it's either stuff that I've borrowed or that I have already, or that in the school I can go and use their piano if I have, that kind
right,
of thing.
yeah, that's nice, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not making, I want to say I'm not making any money from them. I'm making a little bit from YouTube. Once a year, I get a check. It's not much. I have a lot of views, which is great, but
YouTube finds a way to not pay. Facebook
it's not
too.
So much that it's also just the math of
of
what how much you get per thing,
which is not much. Right? Yeah, which annoys me.
I did create a Patreon presence, which didn't always exist. And that was one way I had done that in an effort to try to maybe get more money for my videos. The problem there is I chose, people can either choose, people on Patreon who are the artists creating stuff can choose to charge their patrons every month regardless of what they're putting out, or they can, as I did, say, well, when I put a video out, those people who have signed up to be a supporter of me will then get charged the amount that they had decided they would pledge for each one I do.
Right.
Problem is I haven't put out a video in a long time, so I'm not going to get anything because I haven't put anything out.
Right.
Which is fine. I mean, I do plan on doing more. I have not stopped, people. There will be more.
You mentioned when I'm 64, taking almost Fool on the Hill, taking almost 10 years. Yeah. Let's get a little exclusive. Is there one that you started that is kind of in the works?
There are plenty I can mention that are in the works, but I haven't touched them in quite a while.
That's
I'll
fine.
Get back. Like Band on the Run is one.
Okay, good. That's also for one.
This goes back to whenever it was that McCartney releases new releases of those same albums many times. I don't remember which one this was. It was probably around 2004, 2008. I don't remember when it was. It was probably one of the anniversaries of that album. And there was actually a contest. They said, send in your versions of the song Band on the Run.
Oh, wow.
Maybe you can win the box set deluxe one that we're putting out now. So I said, I'm going to do that. And I got started on it. And I'm sure you're somewhat familiar with the song.
Oh, yeah.
There's the middle section. There's this big orchestra thing. Bum, 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 bum. So I'm not going to just do it on a keyboard. Mm-hmm. So I got some friends that I work with who play violin and a trombone and tuba and timpani. I did the timpani myself, a trumpet. And I recreated that section. Which I think kind of sounded pretty good. But in the meantime, I recorded, I think, the drums, I did the bass, I did a couple of the guitars. I still have yet to do the vocals, which are usually the last thing that I'll do, as well as like the electric piano and the synthesizer. Go,
Right,
I still have to do that.
Great demonstration, by
thank
the
you.
way.
Yeah. Sound designer.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, one of my co-sound designers, we were at doing a meeting in Japan actually for the Korg Trinity. We were going back to our hotel and we were in the elevator. He's like, I always have a hard time telling people, asking, what do you do? Like, I make sounds. And they're like, with your mouth? People don't get it sometimes. But anyway.
It's better than coming from other places.
Yeah. So, Band on the Run is one that will eventually see the light of day.
So you didn't finish it for the contest?
Because it was like I had a week. I could have had it done in time for the contest. I would have had to have worked pretty much nonstop for a full week and not gone to work for that whole week.
Right.
So I kind of realized at one point, I was like, you know what, all right, I'm going to put this aside. So that'll be a nice one when it's done. What else have I started? I started Lady Madonna years ago. There are a number of them that lend themselves well. And there are some that I haven't started, but that I do want to do, that I will.
Sure.
I have, what do I have, like 8 of them now? I can't remember exactly. But
yeah, it's around there somewhere. But now, are you learning? All right, so one of the videos on your page is New York State of Mind. And you're playing the
sax?
The flute in the background. You're playing the sax solo. Yeah. Now, do you know these instruments already, or are you just learning the actual parts? Like,
no.
So you play all these instruments?
Usually I play them, although for certain things I might learn it just enough to play the thing. But no, I started out as a clarinet player.
Oh, okay.
In summer after 3rd grade. And then from the clarinet, I learned the sax because it was similar enough that I was able to kind of get that. Flute took a little more work to get this because it's a different sound production method. There's no reed. You have to kind of shape your mouth a certain way.
Yeah.
The fingering is similar enough. And piano and guitar, by the way, I was self-taught on originally. That was when I guess it was between 6th and 7th grade. I became a Beatles obsessive around that time when I was about 11 or 12. And I'd always wanted to play the piano. My grandmother played a little bit. My mom had taken lessons as a kid, so I grew up listening and hearing them do it. But I didn't want piano lessons because all my friends in school who were like, I have piano lessons today. Like it was like a chore. I'm like, I don't want to feel like that about it.
Yeah.
And there was one day when my grandmother sat me down. She's like, well, here's middle C and here's D and here's F sharp. So I knew where the notes were. And then when I was in, 6th grade or whatever, I had started getting into the Beatles and I had a Beatles songbook. And I started looking at the music and saying, well, I know how to read treble clef from playing the clarinet. And, these are stacked vertically on top of each other, these notes. I guess that means you play them together at the same time.
Oh,
which
wow.
with a clarinet, you can only play one note at a time.
Yeah.
So I never had to encounter that. I figured that was what it was. And it grew from there. And then I started learning chords and stuff like that. And listening to the records. And this kind of was what started on me on my whole journey of being able to pick up stuff by ear, was that the sheet music that they had, especially at that time, was not what they're playing on the record.
No.
Yeah,
it's meant so that you could take your music to your piano lesson and it'll sound recognizable as the song. If you just listen to the piano part only of Let It Be, well, it's going to sound like the beginning of the song because that's how he starts it off. But then once the vocals come in, it's just still the bum dum. There's no When I Find Myself. There's none of that.
Right.
The piano sheet music would go ba 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 bum 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 ba ba ba. It's like he's not playing that on the piano. I want to sound like what he's doing on the record.
Right.
So then I started listening and trying to pick up a little bit at a time. There's a funny story that I've told before, not here obviously. I wanted to learn the introduction to the song "Martha, My Dear."
Okay. Yep.
And this is before YouTube. This is before sheet music where you could buy that they actually took the time to transcribe exactly what's on there. I have to do it myself. And the piano was in the living room, and then down a small set of stairs is the record player in the little den area. Or there's the one upstairs in my room, which is 8 stairs up. And for some reason, I decided to start that day by using my record player upstairs in my room. So I play bum ba da. Okay, lift the needle. Run downstairs. Bum 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 bum. Oh, bum ba. Find like the first 2 notes. Great. Okay, run it back upstairs. Bum bum ba. Bum bum ba. Oh wait. Bum bum ba. Bum bum ba ba. There it is. Bum bum ba. Got that much. Back upstairs.
Wow.
And it turns out, though, I didn't know this until after the fact, that my record player in my room upstairs ran a little fast.
Oh no!
So instead of being in E flat, which is what the record is, I learned it in E, figuring it out in the wrong key because it was the wrong speed on my turntable.
Oh, that's funny.
So I had to kind of unlearn all that and kind of say, shift everything one note down. Yeah.
That's basically you learned too. You self-taught, and probably right around the same age, around the same.
Same. Well, he's like 1 day, 2 days old, 23rd or 24th.
23rd.
23rd, 25th. Yeah, he's 2 days older than me.
Oh, is that right?
We've talked about that before.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, we're literally 2 days apart.
Wow.
But yeah, so right, and the guitar, the same Beatles sheet music book had the guitar chord symbols in there, the little grids that show you where to place your fingers.
That's how I learned.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah. Well, that's a great way to start.
I thought it was all by ear too.
A little bit of both.
Oh yeah.
I had a surgery on my leg in between 6th and 7th grade. So the first 2 months of 7th grade, I was home recovering.
Right.
And I had borrowed a guitar from a friend's mom who had it in the basement. She stopped playing. And so that was when I started on guitar. And it was great because, I had the daytime free. In the afternoon, after school was over, the teacher would come over as a tutor. I'd have a different subject each day of the week.
Ugh.
But I had the mornings free, and my grandmother was retired now, so she was home, and we'd go to the mall together. I'd buy records, It was,
oh, wow.
It was a great time.
He had a cool grandma.
Yeah.
Our grandma tore down our Beatle posters.
Oh, no.
They were the devil.
She's. I remember she came into our room once. She thought, because you mentioned Let It Be, she thought Mother Mary Comes to Me. She thought that was slang for marijuana. So she wouldn't let it be. We couldn't even play Let It Be in the house.
Sacrilegious.
Yeah, everything was sacrilegious.
And we think, no, his mother's name was Mary.
Yeah, and she didn't believe it.
Yeah, right.
She didn't believe it. What'd you do to your leg?
Actually, it was a tumor, luckily benign. But
no kidding.
Yeah, my hip bone.
Wow.
So yeah, it was about a year of not knowing that that's what it was. I just had this pain in my leg.
A year?
Yeah, almost a year.
Had a high tolerance for pain.
Well, no, it was just they didn't show up on the X-rays. And then finally, when it showed up, like, thank you. Like, at least we know what this is now. We can do something about it. So,
because you got an MRI. Full circle. You see what I did there?
Nice call back.
See that that could have been your song. When I was 12,
right.
I had a tumor, but they couldn't find it. Yeah, right. Why don't we get a Beatle? Or you know what? Let's just get a song. Whatever you want to play.
Okay. I'll have to think about what should we do.
Anything you want.
All right.
Well, while we're trying to figure that out, you did mention 6 bands. You really? What was it? 6 bands plus a wedding band?
Yeah. Well, the wedding band is Hank Lane. They've been around for many years, and they have several bands within their organization.
Right. That's when they're like, okay, this guitar player, you go play with that one, right?
They'll
just
do that, and they also have set bands as well.
Oh, he does. Okay.
So I played for years with Harris Lane, who's the son of Hank Lane, and he's kind of the guy running the company now. But he's not going out as much himself, leading jobs. So I'm with another band more often now, and kind of that's the regular group. But they'll also put us with different, you play musical chess kind of thing.
And that's. People they make a living out of that, right?
People can.
Yeah. I think we were talking about Kenny Friedman before we went on the air. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was doing that for a living for a while.
I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a day job. Even straight out of college. I mean, I knew at that point that I was going to be getting married, and eventually have kids and all that stuff.
Sure.
So it was like I knew that it would be too hard to just make my living on music only.
Yeah.
I'm not the kind of person who would be good for that kind of thing, where you don't know where the next check is coming from.
Yeah.
I'm not really a big self-promoting guy with business sense.
Just so. and then like you said, having a family, like that's one thing. That's one thing I don't like about a life in comedy is performing every weekend, and that's when the kids are home. Right. Yeah. I've been able to balance it out a little bit, but that's definitely one of the downsides.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, those are your boys in the birthday video, right?
Yeah.
Singing back up.
Well, they were much younger back then, but yeah. So that was that video for birthday was originally done for my brother-in-law. No, for my cousin, who was turning 50 at the time. This was 2011. And I said, I'm going to do birthday. That would be a great present for him, And in the original birthday song, the part with I would like you to dance birthday, that's Yoko Ono and Patty Harrison.
Right.
So I was like, I could sing those notes, but I was like, being that this is for my cousin, it would be cute to have my kids do that part,
Yeah.
But then because they're kids and certainly much younger than, I didn't want their faces to be seen on the internet. So I have them in silhouette.
Right.
And yeah.
What would name your price to recreate a Yoko Ono song in one of those videos? That would be awesome.
I don't know if it's possible.
Oh, it's possible. It might be hilarious, but it's possible. All right, so now 6 other bands.
So right, some of them are play fairly often. Others are only occasional.
Oh, okay. That's a lot.
But it's a lot. Yeah, it wasn't
to
always
juggle,
like that.
A lot to remember.
And there might be a 7th on the horizon, which is kind of crazy.
My goodness.
Yeah,
and we're talking current. Yeah. We're not saying the past 30 years, 6 bands, right?
So,
now.
Like right now, the real current ones. We've got a band called Make Me Smile. I'm wearing the shirt today. It's a Chicago tribute band. We're playing tomorrow night, as a matter of fact.
Where?
Plug. At Windows on the Lake in Lake Ronkonkoma.
Anthony Pellegrino.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, you could do dinner and a show starting at 6:30, or you could just come for the band itself, which I think is 8 o'clock. And it's a Chicago tribute band with the horn section and everything.
Nice.
Really great bunch of guys. And so that's one of them. And that one we're pretty active now. There's a Beatles band that I play with called the Liverpool Shuffle.
Oh, okay.
I'm the Paul McCartney guy in that band. And we've got I could talk about the dates later on if you want. I wrote them on my phone because
plug whatever
like,
you want. Absolutely.
We got a whole bunch of shows coming up with them. There are times when I'm not with them because I have a wedding, for example, on a Saturday night maybe.
Right.
So they have another guy who will come in my stead. And then sometimes we actually go out as a 5-piece band. This way we could do some of the more complex stuff.
Right.
So we have a guy named Dave Clark, not the guy from the Billy Joel band.
Right.
But, the guy from Soapbox Messiah, is that the one? He's in...
Murphy's.
Right, thank you. Was it Legendary Murphys? Right. Dave Clark. He will come in and play bass, and then I can play keyboard and do all the orchestrations and stuff like that. So, often we're just a 4-piece Beatle band.
Mm-hmm.
There's another Beatle band, the one that I actually had formed years ago, called The Blast.
Blast.
Yeah, right now, and we do mostly Beatles, but then we also do others from the period, like some Who, the Kinks, maybe a Monkees song, the Doors, stuff like that. Unfortunately, our regular drummer moved to the West Coast.
Son of a bitch.
That's right. So we don't play as often. I mean, one thing we do pretty much every year is play at the Nesconset Gazebo. There's a summer concert series there.
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar.
So we'll be
I've
there
done comedy
for that.
there.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the right place. Whatever.
So 6 bands. What do we got? So The Blast, Liverpool Shuffle, Make Me Smile.
It's only half, man.
There's a newish 60s band called the Incredible AM/FM Time Machine, which is with Kenny Forgione, from Wondrous Stories, and Ricky Martinez, who's the drummer from Wondrous, and Kevin McCann, who's the guitarist from there, and Ed Ryan, and Eddie Prophet, and Janet Montalvo, and me. 7-piece band, all 7 of us sing.
Nice.
We do like Mamas and the Papas, we do some Beach Boys, we do a whole bunch of stuff, and it's all, all the harmonies are recreated, and we have some video stuff going on.
Oh, that's cool.
We're playing, actually, we've got 2 dates. I'll mention those, I guess, later. We'll go down the whole calendar.
Yeah, sure. And Ed Ryan, I believe, is scheduled to join us one day.
And Janet might be. Yeah, Janet and we're
okay. And Kenny Forgione is coming in.
Right?
They're all wonderful people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's 4 bands. What else? Who else did I play with? There's a band called Live and Let Die, which is a McCartney tribute. I am the keyboard player. I'm not the McCartney guy.
So you're Linda.
I'm Linda, exactly. Thank you. It's Tony Kishman.
Okay, I know that name.
He was in Beatlemania. He was McCartney in Beatlemania for one of the casts that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And John Murjavi is on guitar. You might know that name.
Yes.
Sometimes Tommy Williams from Wondrous plays with them.
Okay.
Other times they have other people. And there's a lot of traveling all over the country usually.
Nice.
We are actually, that's another one that I'll mention. We're playing at the Suffolk Theater in, was it Riverhead? I guess.
Yep, Riverhead. I played there.
In June, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's good for an occasional gig throughout the year. A couple of gigs. So what is that?
You miss it. You have 5. There's
still
one more.
Who else do I play with?
Somebody's yelling at the computer right now. It's High Band. It's me.
It'll come to me.
It'll come to you. All right.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Andy Plajanos. This guy is vibing like a lost Walker brother. Close to Frank's birthday, Beatle obsession, and a leg tumor.
All I need is the thermos.
That's
Got too much hair though.
Yeah, true.
Not for long.
All right, so let's get a song, and then maybe by the time the song's over, it'll hit you. Right in the middle of the song, you're just going to yell out the name of the band.
Yeah, let's do two of us.
Anything you want. Oh, you're gonna do. Oh, the two of us.
Well, being
Okay.
that I'm vibing like a Walker brother, and we're talking about Beatles. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
A.M.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm cheating with the lyrics here.
Me too.
All right. All right. Let's try this.
Two of us riding nowhere, spending someone's hard-earned pay. You and me Sunday driving, not arriving on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. Two of us sending postcards, writing letters on my wall. You and me burning matches, lifting latches on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. You and I have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead. Two of us wearing raincoats, standing solo in the sun. You and me chasing paper, getting nowhere on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home. You and I have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead. Two of us wearing raincoats, standing solo in the sun. You and me chasing paper, getting nowhere on our way back home. We're on our way home. We're on our way home. We're going home.
We're going home.
I'll let him listen.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Goodbye.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Two of Us by the Beatles. Nice job. Now I know you said you like the songs to be played right, and I don't remember the coughing parts in that particular
That
song.
was the alternate take.
Oh, right, that's on the anthology. Yeah. And I like too how you were doing the beat, but while you were doing that, you were smacking yourself in the face. So that was I like that. Can you explain what is going on? What's with this shirt?
It's you and me.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. What's with the obsession of baby pictures?
I just like this picture a lot.
You like the picture a lot.
I just love this picture.
All right. I don't know. Like every time you promote something, he's got a baby picture.
Why not?
It was good times back then.
I'll go in the future next time.
You go what?
I'll make us older next time. Make us like 70s.
Let's see. Jerry Lahane says he loves this song. Oh, Section 12.
Oh, thank you.
That came from Paula.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
Thank you,
funny.
Paula. Yeah, I knew what she was thinking and saying it out loud. Yeah, so Section 12 is a band that we've only played maybe twice. It was an offshoot almost of the 60s band of the AM/FM Time Machine. Ricky Martinez, the drummer, wanted to have a band that could just be for fun, like just let's not over obsess and rehearse and just like get together and play and have fun.
Sure.
So we did one gig at the Warehouse
Nice.
We did another one that was a private function not too long ago, and it's Ricky and me and Eddie Prophet on bass, and Richie Naso on guitar.
Okay. Very nice.
So, yeah, thank you, Paul.
Now, I mentioned Jerry Lehane said he loves this song. Now, have I told you about Jerry Lehane?
Is he the one that writes everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Jerry Lehane, he watches this show regularly. He's a regular viewer, but he claims, and he has not shown me an ounce of proof, he claims to be a ghostwriter going back to the 70s. He claims he wrote almost all of the Tom Petty's Full Moon Fever album. He claims that he wrote most of George's Cloud 9 album. He claims that he wrote most of the first Traveling Wilburys album, as well as a number of songs for Bob Dylan and a bunch of other people.
Did you write any for Yoko
Jerry,
Ono?
have you written anything for Yoko Ono?
That's a great line.
I used to play Yoko Ono music on this show just because for comedic effect, basically. I haven't done that in a long time. I need to get back to that. God, it just cracks me up every time I hear her yelling and shrieking. I don't know what it does. It makes me laugh. Although she did put out an album in the early '80s where other people were doing her songs.
Oh yeah.
And to me, that's not like some of her songs are good if other people, like Elvis Costello did "Walking on Thin Ice."
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Yeah, like that, and Harry Nilsson did a number
Eddie Money did one.
Eddie Money was on that too. Yeah,
I think so.
Like I'll listen to it if it's those people.
Right.
You know, like some of the songs are pretty good. It's just the fact that it's her voice and poor Sean. He's I think his voice is closer to his mother's than it is his father's.
I don't know about that. I can't really say. I haven't heard too much.
I think he has some great music, but his voice is very like this. And I'm like, oh God, I can't do it. Although, any thoughts? Is a brand new Lennon and McCartney song.
I know. I did listen to it.
I did like it.
It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't blow me away, but it was kind of cool, I guess.
Right.
And I don't know was it written by the both of them, or was it just written by James and then Sean contributed?
I believe that's how it went.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
And Paul actually is on it.
Oh, that's right. I think
Yeah.
I had heard that as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Paul,
he's on.
Paul who?
Yeah, right. One of their fathers who's trying to support them.
Paul Rudd.
Yoko's going to sing. Oh no!
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Jerry Lehane has not written for Yoko.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
then
get on it. Come on.
Really?
Get up there.
Yeah. She's what? She's like 90, right? Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
And then Jerry says, "I want my nuts." I have no idea what that means. But thanks for telling us. I hope you get to keep your nuts, Jerry. I really do. I hope you get to keep them. So is it... What's the most you've spent? We were talking about before about finding the instruments to play on these videos and whatnot. What's the most money you've spent on an instrument to get one of these videos right?
That's a good question. Well...
Because I would think some of them's got to be crazy money.
Yeah, I mean, like there's whatever I paid for the studio time to do the Because video. In Fool on the Hill, there are two very interesting harmonicas. There's a bass harmonica, which can go as low as a bass guitar.
Wow,
which
I
is like
didn't
the
know that.
lowest E on a piano.
Okay.
Toward the bottom there. The Beatles used that on Fool on the Hill. They also used it on Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite.
Right. I've seen the pictures. Is that like those big things?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And actually, the bass harmonica is used on a couple of songs by the Beach Boys. And also, The Boxer by Simon & Garfunkel has
Oh, sure.
a bass
I
harmonica.
can hear it now that you mention it.
And the famous example that I always mention is the theme song to Sanford & Son. The opening. Bum, 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 tick, tick, dong. That's a bass harmonica.
That's your
Bum,
next
bum,
video,
bum,
pal.
bum.
Yeah, right.
So the bass harmonica is about this wide. It's two harmonicas hinged together. The bottom one is like kind of all the white keys on a piano.
Yeah.
The top one is kind of like the black keys with a couple of white keys thrown in to make it easier so you don't have to jump between them so often. And then the other harmonica is what's called the 48-chord harmonica. And it's also a double thing on hinges that's about this long. And it's got like 4 holes. It's actually 8, but it's like 4 holes grouped together is one chord. And then next to it's another chord, and there's like, how many? It's like 12 across or something like that, and then 12 across on the bottom. And you get one chord if you blow out, and another one if you breathe in.
Right, yeah.
And it's like if those old, you have those Magnus chord organs as a kid, like with the buttons on the side, and you play the melody, and you can play ha ha like these chords on the thing. It's kind of like that. You blow and you get the full chord. I mean, there was a time in the earlier part of the 20th century when you'd have these harmonica bands, harmonica orchestras. You got like 5 guys. One guy was the bass harmonica guy. Another guy had the chords. One guy would play the melody on a regular harmonica, and maybe someone else would do something else. You know, the there were a couple of actual hits, I guess, of the time that used that kind of lineup. So that's kind of where that comes from. In the meantime, Fool on the Hill has the bass harmonica. There's actually no bass guitar in the song at all.
Oh, I did not know that.
There's the piano doing some stuff, and there's also the foam, 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 foam. That's the bass harmonica. And
the sound effects today are just...
I'm right on it. And then the chord harmonica in Fool on the Hill is doing what almost sounds like a backwards thing, but it's not. You know, the nobody da 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 da.
Okay.
Right.
He's playing it on the harmonica that way. He's going, you know, like that. It's not
Really?
reversed or anything. Anyway, I wanted to, again, get the actual instruments. I didn't want to simply call up a harmonica sound on the keyboard and do
Right.
it.
Because then anybody can do it, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how much those were, and it took a while to find them.
Okay.
And they can be, if I bought them new, I mean, I bought them used, which sounds a little gross, used harmonicas, but, you know, alcohol and some cotton swabs.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm, you know, like if you buy them new, they're like well over $1,000 for each one. I did not spend near that much. Wow. But yeah, so that was probably, you know, up there. I bought a 12-string acoustic very close to the one that actually was just found, the one that John Lennon used on Help, and You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. I got something very close to that same company, similar model, and similar year. I think it was a 63. I didn't buy it specifically for a video, but it was one that I wanted to have. I did use it in the video of the song Girl from Rubber Soul. It's that sort of balalaika bouzouki type, you know, ding, 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 ding.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that's what they actually used on the record as well.
See, I just assumed it was a mandolin.
It sounds like it. Well, because a mandolin and the higher notes of the 12-string are doubled strings.
Okay.
For each one string, you have another one right next to it. And that's the sound, just like a mandolin or bouzouki or balalaika, any of those. I think they all have these what are called like double course strings, meaning two strings running next to each other. And the 12-string does as well. And they had that 12-string already. So.
And what did you say? A bouzouki?
Bouzouki, yeah, I think that's, is that Greek or is that, yeah. And a balalaika is Russian, but yeah, bouzouki is and it almost has a Greek sound to it, that portion.
Yeah, true.
With the symbol, yeah,
right.
It just sounds like, not that I know enough about all different types of music from the world, but yeah. So I didn't pay for that specifically for that video, but I did put out money to get it.
Wow. But then, so then what? Then what do you do with it? I mean, have you ever been invited to play on a gig somewhere? We need
I have it. It's part of a collection. Some people just collect instruments.
Absolutely,
have,
sure. Oh yeah, no judgment. I think it's great.
Eventually, I will do a video for You've Got to Hide Your Love Away.
Okay.
That one is in the works in as much as I recorded the alto flute part for that. There's that bit at the end of the song. Mm-hmm. It's a regular flute and an alto flute, which is slightly lower.
The guy who was cutting the grass, he played that.
That's right. And the chattering teeth.
Yes. Inside joke. Sorry, I love that movie.
You had to be there. So I actually the sax player of the wedding band at the time was also a flute player, and he had an alto flute. I said, "Would I be able to like borrow your alto flute?" He's like, "Well, I'll bring it to the gig." And I tried to get the sound, and I just couldn't get the low note to come out the way I wanted to. So I recorded him playing the part.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And I'm going to do it on the regular flute, the one that's the higher octave. But I haven't done anything else with it yet. But eventually, and I'll use that 12-string acoustic guitar for that. So
I did. Is the goal to do every Beatles song at some point?
No, I know that's
That'd
not
be
possible.
cool.
Yeah, it would be cool, but it's just way too much work.
I did read once.
I mean, I've only got 8, and it's been how many years? You know.
Yeah, true. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but I did read somewhere that he actually did re-record every Beatles song.
Well, there's a guy that I did some stuff with out on the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's called Confusion Boats. Confusion Boats is the outfit. The guy's name, I think, is Brian Deere. And his goal is to do a cover version of every Beatles song, and maybe even ones that they didn't write, that they were maybe only ones that were demos.
Right. Wow, that's a lot.
And I participated in one, which was a version of... He usually tries to go completely different musically, stylistically speaking, from the original.
Yeah.
This was the only case where it was a Beatles song done in the style of a different Beatles song.
Oh, that's cool.
It was
that's
I Want to Hold Your Hand in the style of Oh Darling.
Oh, wow.
And he had seen my video for Oh Darling, and so he called on me, he found me, and emailed me to say, would you want to do this? And the reason why he came up with the idea was that, you got... oh, darling, please believe me, I'll never do you no harm, right? And, oh yeah, I'll tell you something. I think you'll understand. It's very similar
Yeah.
chords.
That's amazing.
So
You
that was
guys
what
can even
started
figure that
him on
out.
Yeah. So it was done in the style of "Oh Darling," but it was "I Want to Hold Your Hand."
That's funny.
And then the other one that I did more recently was a version of "Now and Then," which is that new Beatles song that has finally come out. And it's done in a kind of late 70s, early 80s synth pop. I don't know what. I mean, I'm thinking it's got a little bit of a U2 vocally, the little Bono kind of delivery.
Sure.
And that one actually used the bridge section of that song, which is not in the one that was released recently.
Right.
So those are the two that I've done with him. Mentioning that because you said someone who was going to do every song, that is also the case with this guy. He's trying to do a version of every song.
It's killing me. He's a famous guy, and I can't remember who it was, and I think he just died. But I can't remember. I mean,
Well,
plenty
he's
of
not
people
gonna do
just.
all the songs.
Well, that's true. Then unless he, no, I think he actually did them already.
Oh, okay.
It's killing me.
Too soon.
He might still be doing them. World Party.
Oh yeah.
What's the guy's name? I think it's him, and he did just die recently, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was him that he supposedly. I mean, he has put out a few like B-sides. He has put out some
I have
Beatles
a version of him
numbers.
doing Penny Lane, I think.
And maybe Strawberry Fields, maybe too. I
Maybe.
forget. What's his name though?
I'll tell you in a sec.
Yeah, it's bugging me.
Yeah, he was in the group called the Waterboys as well. Carl Wallinger.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wallinger. Yeah. Wow.
He just brought up something else I just remembered too that you do. That he does. He
Make sounds with my mouth.
well, that's it. No, but
Mel Blanc.
he'll put little snippets of songs on.
Oh,
Facebook once in a while.
mashups.
Oh, mashups. Yes.
He takes one song, gets another song that has nothing to do with the other song, but makes them all fit.
Right. Yes. Which I just listened. I think was your latest one. Not Centerfold.
Oh, the Badfinger and Prince.
No. It was.
I did one with Centerfold, but it was the accompaniment was taken from
Bruce
The Way It
Hornsby.
Is.
Yes,
By Bruce
that's.
Hornsby.
I just listened to that this morning. Yeah.
Because a lot of times it comes from noticing a similarity in the chords. Maybe it's in the same key as well. So like you have in The Way It Is, that what is it? Yeah. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum.
Right.
That's just the way it is. Na, 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 na. It's the same. It's
great.
GFC. It's the same chord.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
But the one that I put out, that one was the newest one that I've done. I used to do them every Monday. I used to have Mashup Monday on Facebook.
That's funny.
I kind of resurrected one that I was listening back through some of the old ones I did, and I was like, oh, this one's really good. But it was, at the time, I couldn't quite separate the vocals from the background. So there was still remnants of the actual original vocal in the reverby, echoey kind of thing. So I was like, let me redo this. Now we have more technology, so I
Right.
can actually get a cleaner thing. So it's, I could pop a little bit of it on the mic here.
Okay.
Just because it's
So,
kind of
so
amusing.
you're saying Jay Giles would have a lawsuit against Bruce Hornsby?
Yeah, not really. I mean, first of all, you can't copyright chord progressions.
Oh,
You
okay.
can copyright melodies.
Right.
You can't, just like you can't copyright song titles either.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And the melody is really the most fingerprinty, identifiable, thing. Because you have a million songs that have the same chord progression.
Right.
Like this is just a moment of three chords that line up. But there are others where it's just this 1/4, like you've probably heard now, that what is it, Axis of Awesome, the four chords, the Don't Stop Believing, for example. That chord progression has become the new one. Sidetrack. I'm all about getting completely sidetracked. So the original thing was, as a kid, was this whole, there were so many songs that had that. I mean,
Right.
This Boy is basically that chord progression.
Right.
Or what's it? Those
Every
magic,
Chuck Berry
magic
song.
changes. C, 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 A, A, A,
Oh,
minor,
right.
F was a Grease has that, and they
Right.
even say the names of the chords. What's that playing on the radio, right? And this boy wouldn't mind the pain. It's that one's actually in D, but it's the same chords. You just take everything and move it proportionally,
Right.
and it's the same thing.
Right.
So and a lot of standards from the 20s, whatever, have a similar thing. 1645 or 1625 in Roman numeral terminology.
Of course.
Well, it's kind of like based on the one chord. This is our home, so that's 1. That's 2. That's 3. You move up the thing. You number them.
Okay.
And so that's an easy way to call out chords to a band member. go to the 5 chord, that kind of thing. Anyway, so as a kid, I thought, well, that must be just some sort of chord progression that just was always there, and for whatever reason. And there were so many songs that used it. And then more recently, a lot of them use, like I said, Don't Stop Believin', which is... well, it's actually... Okay, we'll do it in C again. So that could be Let It Be, almost.
Okay. Yeah.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world.
Wow.
Right? So there's a lot of stuff like that. Of course, it doesn't only repeat those 4. There are a couple of things thrown in, but,
And then the choruses.
No cry. Right? There's all that
wow.
stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Then the choruses to those songs are usually completely different too, right?
Often, but not always. Sometimes
Okay.
they use the same chords over, and they use some sort of change in the instrumentation or the production to make it sound like a different section.
Okay.
There's even a guy out there who offers to teach piano. You could play 100 songs in just 4 chords in 1 hour. Like, it's really annoying. But anyway. So with that, I was like, oh, wait a second, here we go again. I just thought the old stuff with the 50s and jazz songs was this other thing. But no, it's probably a similar thing. You hit upon a certain thing that just sounds good in combination.
Yeah.
And then it catches on as all of a sudden people are just writing this, It's not a case of plagiarism necessarily. I think it's more just, oh, this sounds like this next thing would work here. The next chord, this should go to there. Oh, okay. But anyway, so mashups sometimes come from, I find stuff where the chords are the same, but not always. Part of the fun of doing mashups can also be to put things together that don't really belong together.
Right, yeah.
So
some of them are really, like, other mashups that you look up on YouTube are really funny.
Yeah.
So this one, I'll just do a little bit of this. Let's see. And it works.
Great.
Yeah. That's funny.
And actually, and surprisingly, the middle section works really well as well. Which just happened to work out. I was like, let me see what happens if I let it go.
Right, right.
So I'll just play a little bit of this section now too.
Wow, that fit perfectly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great.
Wow.
So that's why I was like, I gotta redo this one because it's too good to leave alone. So the original one had, like I said, all kinds of remnants of the original, no matter what you in the background, like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then when it would stop, there'd be like still other stuff.
Yes.
So I was like, so yeah, I was able to get a nice clean isolation.
That's crazy. I'm amazed that people that can pick out stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of times it comes to you like when you're like I'm in the shower or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, why do I want to go into this other song when I'm singing this first one? It's like something about it must be similar that makes me think of that.
That's right.
And then of course the actual mechanics of putting it together. You have to sync up the two things, and sometimes it requires a lot of work. But
now, do you consider yourself like a Beatle nut, or is it
Yes.
just the music? So you're just a Beatle
I'm
nut.
a Beatle nut.
And I know
I
Frank
love
is.
music in general, yes.
Right. Okay.
But Beatles especially.
All right. Well, I hold in my hand
Ah.
some Beatles Trivial Pursuit right here, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
that's funny.
Uh-oh.
Let's see exactly
Oh,
who
no.
is the real Beatle nut here.
Putting on the spot here.
That's right. Neither
Is
one
there
of
a
you.
buzzer?
No. Neither one of you knew I was going to do this today.
That is correct.
All right, let's see. So, see, some of these. See, this is why I don't consider myself a Beatle nut. I like their music, but then I pull out a random card. The first question: how many concerts did the Beatles play in Los Angeles during their second U.S. tour?
Oh my God.
Are you kidding?
I know people who would know that.
And those people.
That is not the kind of stuff that I would usually know.
Good. All right. So let's see. All right. This one I don't know the answer to this, but you guys, this isn't as bad as that one. What Beatles single released in November 1967 contains a greeting in its title?
Hello, goodbye.
Would you agree?
Yes.
You're both correct on that. Okay. Let's see.
I don't know why you say goodbye.
Which Beatle assisted Ringo with the writing of the music to Octopus's Garden?
George, I want to say.
Yes.
Frank doesn't know any of these. He's just nodding.
No, I agree.
What is George shown doing on the back cover of his album Dark Horse?
I don't know if I've seen the back cover.
No, I don't know.
I'm not as familiar with the solo stuff, so I don't have that album.
Oh, okay. Oh, really? You're not familiar?
I'm
really?
familiar with it, but I don't know it as
interesting.
well. Like I know a lot of the McCartney stuff. I know a lot of the John Lennon stuff, but
George is sitting on a wooden bench.
well,
Ooh.
does it say what kind of wooden bench?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Who made
How many
it?
splinters did he get on his ass? At what venue did Capitol Records record the Beatles during their second U.S. tour? I guess that would be Hollywood Bowl because they
Yes.
put out a Live from Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the only reason I would know that
Yeah.
one. All right. All right. Yeah. See, who wrote and sang lead on Octopus's Garden? Those are my kind of
Yeah.
questions.
Ringo.
Do you think that movie, if it wasn't the Beatles and it didn't have Beatles music, do you think that movie would still be good? I think it is. I think
I enjoy it.
I think that movie's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I've had people on this show yell at me about that. What Capitol B-side from 1965 is about someone who doesn't want to be a party pooper? That's an actual
I don't
question.
want to spoil
here.
the party.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you didn't get that one, did
No,
you?
I didn't get that one. I know it's a B-side.
In the song Maxwell Silverhammer, what is Joan alone with when Maxwell attacks her?
John was physical.
Yeah, do the same thing.
Oh, I know. A test tube.
A test tube is correct.
Pataphysical science. Yes.
Oh, all right. You mentioned Band on the Run before. What song on Band on the Run album was co-written by Paul and Denny Lane?
Oh, No Words.
No Words?
No Words is correct. Right. You guys are doing. See, this is what I mean. What famous actor witnessed Paul writing the song Picasso's
Yes.
last words?
Dustin Hoffman.
Oh.
He was over at his house or something, and he challenged. He said, "So you can just like write a song," and he's like, "Yeah, here. How about this? Write a song based on this news story about Picasso who just had passed away."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's Graham Nash. Just a Song Before I Go.
Right.
He was saying goodbye to somebody at an airport, and they're like, write a song right now.
Yeah.
He's all right, just a song before I go. Yeah. That's a true story.
That's great.
What is the last song heard during the cartoon portion of Yellow Submarine? What is the last song played during the cartoon portion of the movie Let It Be?
It's all too much.
This guy,
Which,
he's
by
good.
the way,
Yeah.
they laid down the basic tracks on the day that I was born, May 25th, 67.
Wow.
They were in the studio
Nice.
doing that. And
That's-
that's also the day that John Lennon got his Rolls Royce back with a psychedelic paint job.
Thank goodness.
I didn't remember that from that day.
Yeah, right.
I found it in the...
Well, it was all dedicated to you. The Rolls Royce, the song, it's all
Yes.
about you. It's all too much. I have no idea. Let's see. What word is shown at the beginning of It's All Too Much in Yellow Submarine?
I want to say love, just
That's what I'm
because
thinking,
his
too.
love is what's right before it.
This is the first question. You both gotten incorrect.
What is it?
Well, you want to take another stab at it or no?
I'm trying to think of what it could, like, is it left over, though, from the previous scene?
Is it yes? It is, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll think
yeah,
of the
see,
story.
I'm picturing the, yeah.
Yeah.
We knew that. We were just just double checking that you were paying attention.
All right, last question. In the movie Hard Day's Night, what was the name of the road manager who was in charge? That one I knew.
Well, I know the two names, and which was the guy who was the road manager? I guess who was in charge would be Norm.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And there was Norm and Shake.
Shake, yeah.
Come on, Shake. Yeah.
I can't help being taller than you. Very nice. You guys did a super job.
Thank you.
There's no prize.
That's right.
So there's a piano here.
There is a piano
Yes,
here.
should I do a song?
Yeah, let's get another song out of you. Let's see. Let me set up microphones.
Did we go with the mic around the neck, or is it?
Oh, right. Yes, that was the technique. Thank you. The arrows through the head. Steve Martin.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, again, you can play anything you want. Doesn't have to be Beatles. It could be anything you want. Now, you have originals too, don't you?
I do.
Now, I know you have an EP called 4 Songs.
I do.
Is that Is that it, or are there other albums?
That's the only thing I have that I actually released.
Yeah. Do you? But
I could try to do a song from there.
Up to you.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
It goes kind of high, but it's after 12, so I should be able Am I, by the way, am I in frame? I see this camera is...
Well, yeah, that's the delay,
look
but
at that,
yeah.
okay.
But now I'm actually getting rid of me and Frank, so we just...
Should I stand like in front of the glare from the...
Yeah, there is a little bit of a glare, but it's not that bad.
It's a glaring omission.
Actually, can I... Hang on. Let me see if I can get rid of that. Hang on. If I do that... that might be a little bit better. All right. It's all yours.
All right. So I might as well do, since you mentioned originals. This is a song that I wrote when I was 17, actually. And you know, like people talk about, like McCartney talks about writing yesterday, and it came to him in a dream. And are you hearing me? It's coming through.
I hear you just fine.
All right, good. So you know, and other songwriters have talked about certain songs where it just kind of spilled out all in one thing. So this was the one time that I had that experience where this kind of came out almost fully formed. And like I said, I was 17 when I wrote it. The version that's on that EP, 4 songs, is recorded in 2005, I think. But anyway, so this is called How Long, not to be confused with the song by Ace featuring Paul Carrick. But, let's see if I can do this.
Saw you last year, long time no see. I felt the pain in your eyes. To me you're so dear, why'd this happen to us? For us it seems time never flies. And I was wondering how long it would take to be like the regular people who could share the love they make. How long? How long? Wave you goodbye, see you again next year. We'll miss each other in the meantime. But baby, don't cry, I will try to dry your tears. And one last kiss to last till next time. And I was wondering how long it would take to be like the regular people who could share the love they make. How long? How long? I was wondering how long it would take to be like the regular people who could share the love they make. Now how long? How long?
Very nice. That's early Elton John, if I ever heard it.
Yeah, similar. I've heard comparisons to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was kind of a big influence growing up. Like as a little kid, maybe like first or second grade, you know, had Elton John's greatest hits. And
yeah. Nice.
You should get a Billy song too.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what's that?
He's very good
Sure.
at Billy.
Oh, you want to do a Billy song?
Why
Okay,
not?
Cool. Yeah, knock yourself out.
they're not the best of times, but they're the only times I've ever known. I believe there is a time for meditation in cathedrals of our own. Now I have seen that sad surrender in my lover's eyes, and I can only stand apart and sympathize. For we are always what our situations hand us. It's either sadness or euphoria. So we'll argue and we'll compromise and realize that nothing's ever changed. For all our mutual experience, our separate conclusions are the same. Now we are forced to recognize our inhumanity. A reason coexists with our insanity. And though we choose between reality and madness, it's either sadness or euphoria. How thoughtlessly we dissipate our energies. Perhaps we don't fulfill each other's fantasies. And as we stand upon the ledges of our lives with our respective similarities, it's either sadness or euphoria.
Very nice. Andrew Lubman here hanging out with us today. That was great.
Thank you.
Very nice. All right, let's do that. Okay. So, all right, so we got about 10 minutes left. Yeah, come sit. Come relax. We won't make you work the whole time. All right, so let's see. All right, I'll ask you both. Favorite concert you've ever seen, worst concert you've ever seen?
Favorite concert?
There's got to be one, I would think.
You know, I'm never. Some people like Paula, who's watching, knows that I'm not good at choosing favorite things.
Oh, is that right?
Favorite album? It's too hard to choose. I mean, I can tell you, like, first concert I went to,
Okay.
first rock concert, was Billy Joel at the Garden, June of 1980, Glass Houses tour.
Oh, very nice.
That was great because it was the first one I went to, so maybe that was a favorite in that way.
Right.
I'm sure there's others. I'm going to see Jacob Collier on Saturday with my kids.
Oh, he's great.
So that I'm looking forward to.
I
He's
don't
a
know who
very
that is.
interesting, amazing musician from England, young guy.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to plenty of concerts. Certainly, the Billy Joel live from Long Island at the Coliseum. I was there.
Oh, nice.
For that taping, so that was a great.
David
great
Clark,
show.
the Billy Joel guy,
Right.
he was there for that too.
Yeah.
A lot of good responses. A lot of people enjoyed your performances.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everybody.
Do you have a worst though? Was there ever one where you're like, this is awful?
Yoko, no. Yeah, I don't know if there's ever been anything that was like just horrible. You know.
Wow.
I know. I could tell you the most pain I was. I went to see Thomas Dolby on his Flat Earth tour, which is like 1983 or something
Okay.
like that. And it
Probably
was
the height of his popularity.
It was It was the next album after Blinded by Science.
Okay.
It was at the. What was it? It was. I can't remember the name of the club. It was in Manhattan. And there were no seats. It was standing only on this like hard cement floor. And it was a good 2 hours at least that we were just standing there. And my back was killing me from standing there. I remember they had this interesting, very primitive like computer graphics on a loop. To, just a thing. And the song that seemed to be playing the entire time was Dance Hall Days by Wang Chung.
Wang Chung,
which
yeah.
I didn't know at the time. I was like, what is this? This is just... And associated with my back hurting, I'm just like... I'm like, oh no, this is never going to end. But the show was good.
So you're standing there for 2 hours before the show, even?
Right, exactly.
Oh my goodness! I saw at Roseland. I saw Steely Dan once and no seats. Now I love Steely Dan, but they're not a stand up and go crazy band. So you're same thing. My back was killing me. By like, somebody get me a freaking chair. Oh man, that made me nuts.
Yeah.
Best and worst or no?
Best, I guess, McCartney, just because it's McCartney. It's hard to pick other ones.
When McCartney when?
I saw the '89 tour. I saw '93, which is probably a better show because '89 he was kind of losing his voice.
I remember we were sitting second to last row directly across from him. I remember that.
Do you remember I hurt my finger that night?
Hurt your finger?
A guy was like, was in front of us, like drunk out of his mind, and he was high fiving people.
Oh,
he went to high five me, and he got the tip of my finger. I was in a splint for like a week.
But he also let us use his. But he also let us use his binoculars.
Was it the same guy?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the price you pay.
You were in a
Next time, bring your own binoculars.
Yeah, right.
And I had to play a couple nights after that, playing keyboard with my old band, and I had to play like this, my finger up.
Likely story.
Yeah, right.
What's your worst?
I don't know if there was a worst. There was the loudest one I ever saw was Heart.
Really?
At Nassau Coliseum, I was in the back row, and it was super loud.
When was that?
87, I think it was.
Yeah, I was there. We must have went together. I don't remember sitting in the back row.
I remember for some reason being in the very back.
Unless we weren't together. I don't know. I thought we were. But yeah, that's when I saw them. Yeah, the first time I ever saw Heart was 87.
They were great, but they were just loud.
Oh, they're great. Yeah. They're back. They're touring right now.
Yeah.
All right, now how about personally for yourselves? Best. Now you can best because it was a great crowd. Best because you were performing well. Whatever your reasons are. Best and worst show for you personally
that I've done myself.
You with your performing. Yeah.
Right. Wow.
So many good ones. Hard to pick.
I've done. Yeah. Listen, I especially in these last whatever it's been years, because I guess I'd like to say I was always pretty good, but my voice, for example, has really gotten better over the years.
Okay.
I mean, like when I joined the wedding band that I'm in now, I was then put in singing a lot more songs than I had previously, so that you get better from that. And then when the pandemic came and I was doing these live streams every week, that really you build up a great And I would listen back each day. The next day, I'd always listen back to it to say, "Oh yeah, I got to work on that." And whenever I get to that note, I'm always a little out of tune. So each time it just kind of further molds and fine tunes.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with your asking. A memorable moment. I remember there was a talent show in high school, and I think I was involved in 3 of the acts, and one of them was accompanying one of my friends. I can't remember what song she sang, but I played piano, and I was on the stage, and the piano, when it was in high school, was down on the floor level. And so I jumped off the stage and down, and because I was already starting a good, 5 feet up or 4 feet up, the jump, it felt like this slow motion rock moment. It was like, I pulled my legs up, and I was like, and luckily I landed safely, but it was that moment of yeah. So that it has nothing to do with the performance. It's just one of those moments that stands out in my mind. It wasn't even playing. I was just going to I'm got to get down to the piano and I had to play this next song.
Fremder says he first saw Heart and he sat in section A1C. Very good, Fremder. Jerry Lahane, by the way, says he wrote a song for Bruce Hornsby called "I'm 17." I don't know if you're familiar with that song. No, me neither. But yeah, he claims he wrote it. Okay. Worst concert? Do you have one?
Concert? You asked me that.
Oh, that's right. I asked you. Oh, personal. Best and worst personal.
Best was probably sitting in one of the stories at the Bangladesh concerts.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Doing a couple songs there. Worst was a small thing. I did. I played an art gallery right after, not long after 9/11.
Okay.
And we're used to playing restaurants where you're kind of in the background, you're not really being listened to, paid attention, whatever else. This art gallery, they had chairs set up. They were listening. It was quiet, so you had to be on your game. They had a piano there. So I'm like, all right, I'll play some piano. Go to play My Love from Paul McCartney. And it gets up there. So I'm confident about it. My love does it good. Voice just went. Nowhere to hide. They're paying attention. They're listening. They're looking at you. Everybody's eyes is bugging out.
Oh, really? They all went.
They all went. Yeah, exactly. And I'm saying to myself, I say, all right, no matter what I do now, I'm going to lose them. They're going to hate me. What do I do? What do I do? I finish the song and I go poof on the piano, and they all just started laughing.
Oh,
they forgave me.
That's great. And I don't know why I think talking about wedding bands and stuff, it's made me think of this. I went to a friend's wedding, 92 and 93, I forget what year it was. And the wedding band is playing, and the band taking a break. It was dinner time, so we're all eating. And the band gets off, but the guitar player just decided to sit there. I don't think he was eating, so maybe he's just tooling around. But he's playing like finger picking. He's almost like folk. But all of a sudden it hit me out of nowhere. He's playing like this like finger picking like he just felt like he was messing around, but he's playing "I Feel Fine." But it was very like you wouldn't like I didn't recognize it at first. He wasn't playing the actual song like like a bluegrass folk version. So when he finished, I had finished eating, so I walked over to him. I said, "I don't know if anybody else in this place has picked on what you're doing." I said, "But I just want to let you know I enjoyed that." Yeah, like me and you. So it turns out this guy, John Lennon's last televised performance, where he played with Mark Rivera, who's Billy Joel's sax player.
Mr. Lou Grade.
Right, yeah, that was it. He did Imagine, and I forget what else he did. This guy was the guitar player from that.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And he, again, so this was early 90s. He pulled out the picture from that show, and he showed me. I was like, son of a bitch, that is him. But at the time, this was before internet. You can find almost anything on the internet now. At that time, the guy was telling me they had played 3 songs, but in the bootleg circuit, he was only able to find 2. And he said to me, he goes, if you happen to know anybody that has the 3rd song, and he was going on and on. I'm sure I could look it up, but at the time I didn't even get his name or anything. Hi. You raising your hand? You have a question?
The 3rd song, actually, I just heard it last week.
Well, what were the 3?
It was Slippin' and Slidin',
right.
Imagine, which the ones that were shown.
Okay.
And Stand By Me was in the middle of it.
Oh, Stand By Me?
And Stand By Me just came up on YouTube as an audience recording.
Ah.
What do you mean just? Like
just audio, no video.
Yeah, but you're saying just, like it just came out?
I just heard it last week.
So after all these years, that one wasn't around?
Someone finally came up with it.
All right, then find that guy and let him know. I don't know. Did I even tell you that story?
No.
Yeah. Let's see. Paul McCartney and Angela Lansbury are the same person. Yes. That's a mashup too that Andrew did. All right, so it is just about time for us to go. So give us your socials where everybody can find you. All that. Give us the dates. All that good stuff.
All right, so on YouTube, it's All You Need Is Lub, like Lubman, L-U-B. No spaces, just one word. All You Need Is Lub on YouTube.
Good morning, John. Like good morning, one word.
Yeah, good morning. Exactly, no spaces. I have an All You Need Is Lub artist page on Facebook where that's where I usually do most of my live streams. If I'm going to be live streaming on there, it's Fridays, 8 o'clock New York time. But now that we're coming into in-person live gig time of year, I won't be doing as many of those. But if you go and you find my artist page on Facebook on a Friday night, somewhere between 8 p.m. and 11:30, go on, see if I'm on. I do also stream sometimes from my All You Need Is Love YouTube page. What else is there? I do have a Patreon page under that name as well. You can certainly support me if you want, but I haven't put any videos out, so until I do that, you won't get charged. And I guess, I don't know if I'm leaving anything out. Those are the things I'm most active on these days. As far as the calendar and gig schedules, here I made a quick cheat sheet. So as I said, tomorrow night, Make Me Smile, the Chicago Tribute Band in Lake Ronkonkoma at Windows on the Lake. 6:30 for dinner and the show, and just 8 p.m. if you just want to catch the band only. And I'm sure they have a website, Windows on the Lake.
That'd be my guess.
Liverpool Shuffle, the Beatle band that I'm in, is playing at the Queen's Library, the Ridgewood one, on May 16th. If anyone's going to the Abbey Road on the River festival, Paula, we were supposed to meet. So Paula is one of my regular friends as well.
Nice.
Who is on my live streams all the time. We were going to finally meet in person last year in May for the Abbey Road on the River Festival, which is a big outdoor music festival of all Beatle cover bands, stuff like that, out in Indiana, near Kentucky. And I got COVID on my birthday last year.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so I had all of a sudden, very last minute, had to cancel. So I'm going this year. That's in May 24th, with Tony Kishman and Live and Let Die. The 60s band, the Kenny Forgione incredible AM/FM Time Machine, will be playing at the Warehouse in Amityville on May 30th.
Cool.
I'm at the Suffolk Theater with Live and Let Die on June 14th. June 16th, which is Father's Day, I'll be with Liverpool Shuffle, a 5-man version of the band, doing a McCartney-centric show at the Roslyn Hotel. That's my father's place at the Roslyn Hotel.
Nice.
Liverpool Shuffle at Centre Morish's Library on June 23rd. In Great Neck, on the street, was it Middle Neck Road maybe, June 27th, it's Liverpool Shuffle and the Rolling Stones tribute band Street Fighter.
Very nice.
Let's see, Liverpool Shuffle's playing the Long Island Music Hall of Fame on June 30th.
That's cool.
So if you buy entry to the museum, you get to see the show.
Nice.
The Chicago band's playing Lido Beach on July 12th. That's Make Me Smile. Let's see. AM/FM Time Machine, once again, that's the 60s band. We do music from 64 to 73. That's at Forest City Park, kind of in the Wantagh neck of the woods. That's July 26th. Liverpool Shuffle at the Northport Gazebo. We play that one every year. That's July 31st. Babylon Gazebo, Liverpool Shuffle, August 2nd. And The Blast, my band that I started, August 28th in this concert.
Excellent. Lots of opportunities to see the man play. Excellent. John Rusciello wrote goodbye, 2 separate words. However, goodbye is actually one word.
It's one word or hyphenated. Old school hyphenated.
Well, he did neither. So, John, I'm going to pick on you some more. All right. It is definitely time for us to go. Just bear with me, though, another second. One thing I like to do with our guests, I always look on the social media, on the Facebook pages, and I look at mutual friends. So I'm going to mention a few names to you. You might not know who I'm talking about. You can say anything you want about them, good, bad, or you just tell me to move on. But I don't have too many names here. Bob Blickwoody.
How do you spell that last name?
Blickwede.
He might have been a recent friend. Is he associated with like the Warehouse, or is he the photographer? There's a couple of people.
He books a lot of gigs.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, I don't generally accept friend requests from people that I've never met. Yeah, obviously, if I'm actually friends with someone, I'll do it. If it's someone that I met at a gig or I played with, then usually I will. If it's someone who saw me but I don't know them, don't be offended, don't take it personally, but I usually don't accept the friend request right away because I don't know, it's like...
I hear you.
So that was someone I think I might have met at one of the gigs. And
Bob's a good guy. Colleen McGrath Scullo.
Yeah, I think I know her. I think it's got to be her. She's a singer, right?
She is. Very good one.
One gig with her back in the Jane Doe days, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Subbing for Kenny Friedman, actually.
Yep.
That's how I met Paulie G, who's the bass player.
Yep.
Met a couple of people that day. We're talking like 1990.
Yeah, it's probably
like
that.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow. Here's one that I thought was interesting. Fran Griffin.
Yeah, Fran Griffin she was taking, was it voiceover lessons from a friend of mine that I know, and she expressed to that person that she wanted to write songs.
Yeah.
She has lyrics. So this mutual friend, the person who's giving her voiceover instruction, contacted me. Is this something you'd be interested in? So Fran and I have written a few songs together.
Really?
And she's trying to shop them around a little bit.
I just heard one maybe just a couple of months ago. I had no idea you were
the
involved.
One that's out there. And I wrote the music to that. Yeah.
My
time.
Yeah. Holy shit! I just heard that.
Yeah. She gave me the lyrics, and I turned it into a song.
That's funny.
Kind of like Picasso's last words and Song Before I Go.
All right, last name I have for you. We actually talked about it before we went on the air. Larry Russell.
Yes, Larry Russell, who was in Billy Joel's original backing band Live.
Yep.
Plays bass. Plays a righty bass held lefty.
Right.
Did not bother restringing it. There are a couple of people in the world that are like that, actually.
Yeah.
Very sweet guy. So he had a band called Beatlestock, and I joined them for a number of years. And that was really how I knew him. I mean, he was friends with some of the guys in the band called Bubble. He had played with them, I think, once or twice, led by a guy named David Foster, no relation to the famous guy. David Foster I've known since I'm like 12 years old. We went to school together. And so I know that was how I first heard the name Larry Russell. And then Beatlestock became a thing, and he was looking for somebody, and somehow my name got to him, I think. And
nice.
So
had the pleasure of seeing it once, and
that's
it was
right. That's how you and I met, other than King Cullen. I mean,
And that night when I saw you guys actually had a guy come out playing the sitar, and I was amazed by that.
That was probably Roger Lipson, who also plays with Bubble.
Okay.
And he
And
is-
Bangladesh, too.
And Bangladesh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he is a trained Hindustani musician, plays sitar. I think he plays a few other things. He's actually done Indian weddings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember him because I talked to him after. I remember him saying it. Yeah, blown away by that.
Yeah.
Great show, and we wish Larry well. Hope he's been having some issues. Hope he's feeling better. I haven't heard anything about him in about a month. I got to check in.
Yeah.
All right, we are done. Andrew Lubman, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear for Andrew.
Before you
Thank
go,
you, everybody.
really quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to give this to you on camera for your birthday this weekend.
Yes, it is my birthday this weekend.
So this is...
It's a shirt. It's not a baby picture, thank goodness. If you think I'm an idiot, you should meet my brother. Now, who's wearing it? Oh, okay. Because I do have a shirt that says I'm with stupid.
I was
and it
going to
points
say,
out.
it reminds me of that one, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, it is my birthday this weekend. Sunday? Sunday.
Are you asking me?
I remember the date. I just couldn't remember what day of the week it was this year. But yeah, thank you for that. Yes, it is my birthday this week. Thank you very much. All right. So yeah, go check out. You got a lot of opportunities to go see Andrew play with a lot of his bands. You're not playing anywhere? No. Hey, go see, or you can go see a comedy show this weekend. Don't forget, let's see, Mike Gaffney is playing the club this weekend. Steve Rocco's got one of his shows going on with Teddy Smith and a bunch of other people. Sheba Mason on Sunday here in the club. You got the Ladies of General Hospital. John Rudnitsky is playing. I believe it's the Brokerage this weekend. Andres Fernandez is playing out at McGuire's in Bohemia. Go to govs.com and make your reservation to a lot of great shows. Of course, don't forget September 28th. Join Knockem Dead Comedy in the Giggle Room here at Governor's in Levittown. It's a XXX trivia night. It's a fun game show. There'll be some prizes. Our pal Ivory Fields will be opening up the show. It's going to be a great night, so please join us for that. And please go to knockemdeadcomedy.com and find out, check out our schedule, what we got going on. We have some murder mysteries and some game shows coming your way in the next few months. So there you go. Today is Thursday. So we got Circling the Drain tonight at 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow, Coffee with the Dog at 9. The Rockin' 45s? Is that?
That's a band.
Yeah. You know the guitar player? I think he knows you. I think he told me he knows you. Matt Napo.
I know the name.
Yeah, he's the guitar player in that band, and he does a show here every morning at 9 a.m. Coffee with the Dog, it's called. So that's tomorrow. We're back here tomorrow at 11. Andy Plajanos, of course, will be here. We have Dom DeBarry joining us. He comes in every year to celebrate his birthday. And our old friend, Derek Mutispaw, Mr. Pop and Twist, he'll be coming by as well. We haven't seen him in a while. Tomorrow night, Donversations with Don Sill. He'll be talking to Sean Donnelly, great comedian. So that's what we got going on here. Once again, thank you, Frank. Thank you, Andrew. Next Thursday, who do we have?
Joe DeJesu.
Joe DeJesu, our old friend Joe DeJesu. That son of a bitch bastard who used to do a show here and then left us. I have equipment in my house. I'm going to do it myself. Son of a bitch. No, I'm kidding. Joe's great. He's been back, I think, once since he flat left us. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
If he shows up.
He knows I'm joking. Love Joe. Oh, that'll be good. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Like today was fun. So there you go. Thank you, Andrew Lubman. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. We're out of here. Where's the video? There it is. See you later.
For your event today, what will you experience at a Knockem Dead Comedy murder mystery show? Suspense, excitement, love, more love, violence. Well, not really. And, of course, some music. Knockem Dead Comedy is the #1 murder mystery troupe, entertaining thousands of people for over 20 years.
You have a great night or what? Good.
Their hilarious murder mystery shows are full of audience interaction from beginning to end that will keep you laughing all night long. Their shows are not to be missed. Knockem Dead Comedy's murder mystery themes include a mob show, a redneck wedding, a high school reunion, a family reunion with a luau theme, or your own custom show.
Johnny, you have a good time tonight or what? I had an awesome time. All right. You had a great time. KDC, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah!